If Iran is again threatening President Trump personally, then the issue is no longer just sanctions, nuclear policy, or regional influence. The conflict becomes personal, emotional, political, and much harder to contain. That is why this kind of threat could ruin any realistic chance of near-term peace and increase the odds of a wider war that lasts until one side is badly weakened. Recent reporting says Israel shared intelligence with the United States, indicating that Iran had considered a fresh plan to assassinate President Trump. The motive is tied to Iran's long-standing pledge to avenge the killing of Qassem Soleimani in 2020. Trump answered with a direct warning that if Iran tries to assassinate him, the United States would respond by completely destroying Iran. This matters because it lands in the middle of a fragile diplomatic environment where Washington and Tehran had been trying to preserve at least some framework for limited peace or de-escalation. But assassination threats collapse trust very quickly. Once leaders believe they are bargaining over personal survival, not just policy, compromise becomes much harder. For Washington, any visible concession after a reported assassination plot could be attacked domestically as weakness. For Iran's hardliners, stepping back from revenge can also look like weakness because they have spent years framing resistance as part of revolutionary legitimacy. That is why these threats become strategic traps. Both sides make public red lines, and backing down becomes harder than escalating. Iran's internal power struggle makes the problem worse. Iran is not governed by one perfectly unified actor. There are multiple centers of power, including the Supreme Leaders Network, the Revolutionary Guard, hardline clerics, security institutions, and more pragmatic elected officials. Reporting on Iran's internal argument over the U.S. peace deal shows deep divisions over whether compromise is necessary or dangerous. That creates an enforcement problem. Even if diplomats agree to a ceasefire or interim arrangement, that does not mean every powerful faction inside Iran wants it to survive. Some groups may believe continued confrontation strengthens their domestic position, especially if conflict weakens moderates and strengthens the security apparatus. This is one major reason peace plans fail in factionalized systems. The people signing the deal are not always the ones controlling the guns, the proxies, or the escalation ladder. When that is combined with a personal threat against the U.S. president and a public promise of overwhelming retaliation, the structure strongly favors more conflict, not less. That is why the likely near-term result is not a true peace, but repeated pauses surrounded by more violence. There may be ceasefires and memorandums, but each one remains vulnerable to one rocket strike, one proxy attack, one intelligence leak, or one retaliatory move. Markets may react to each pause, but geopolitically the system remains unstable. The uncomfortable truth is that durable peace often arrives only after the balance of power changes decisively. As long as both sides think they can still improve their position by force, they have less incentive to accept painful compromises. As long as internal factions believe they can gain influence by sabotaging diplomacy, they will keep doing it. That means a real settlement may not emerge until one side is badly weakened militarily, economically, politically, or psychologically. Only then do elites begin to accept terms they previously rejected. Until that shift happens, the danger is a wider and longer war with temporary pauses that look like peace but do not last. If you enjoy this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications to not miss out on my next videos.